1 Corinthians, we have seen Paul speak in very black and white terms. He's not one of those 50 shades of gray kind of guys. Actually, he's not one of those guys at all. Different context. So he's a very black and white guy. It's you're either in or you're out. You are wisdom of the world or you're wisdom of men. You are you love Jesus all the way in, or you just hate God and hate the cross. You are a natural man or you're a spiritual man. You are you're of this age or you're not of this age. You just either are or you aren't. And we think about that, let's be honest, and we think to ourselves, Paul, it's not so simple. When you boil down people into two camps so cleanly, you are missing this large section of people who are believers, but they're just really, they're just not living right. They're Christians, they're just not very mature. And I think Paul knows that, and so he adds this third category, and he says, basically, there's the spiritual man, there's the natural man, non-believer, believer, and then there's the third man, the baby Christian. Or the word, have you ever heard the word carnal Christianity? Anyone use that word before? Of course you don't. You don't talk like you read the King James all the time, but that's where it comes from. The King James Version talks about, are you not merely carnal? That's what that word means. It just means natural. You're a Holy Spirit-filled believer who's acting like you're a pagan, basically what it means. You're a Christian, but you're acting like a baby. And so that's the third category. And for a lot of us, whether it's us as individuals or the people we know, that we would say, that resonates. I know people like that. And so Paul says, when I came to you, that's what you were like. You were carnal. You received the Holy Spirit for your salvation, but you didn't really receive much of the Holy Spirit for your sanctification. And sanctification is a big word that just means you received God to get saved, but you haven't been trusting God to become holy. You haven't really matured in your Christian faith. And so I fed you milk, not solid food. But I want you to notice that Paul, at the beginning, he doesn't seem to think that this is a bad thing. He says, when I first came to you, that's what I did, and that's what I expected. I gave you milk, not solid food. When you give a baby milk instead of solid food, the reason that you give a baby milk instead of solid food is because they just can't handle solid food. I can't wait for Blaze to handle solid food. I want him to enjoy, that ribeye that I'm enjoying. But I would not think that Blaze, my 9-month-old son, is inferior because he can only handle milk. Of course, now he can handle mashed potatoes and a little bit of pasta. And, I'm always going to take it up a notch and not just like, no, not that. And I was like, oh, it'll be fine. He can do the ribeye. It'll be fine. No, we don't do that. But he's just not ready. And so it wouldn't be wrong. He's not inferior. That's just the way things are. We get that. And if you're the kind of parent who you are expecting from your very young child for them to be, like an adult, sit up very proper, have perfect manners, speak in 4 different languages. If you're that kind of parent, first off, you're sick. Number 2, it's unrealistic. You just cannot expect your child to become an adult just like that. And in the same way, this is what Paul is saying, in the same way, if you're a new Christian, if you just became a believer, and for the 940 service in our church, a lot of you are new Christians. And if you're a new Christian, you just need to know it's okay that you're not Billy Graham. You're not going to become Billy Graham overnight. It's okay that you're not okay, that you don't know as much as every other person knows, that you don't do exactly what other people do. In fact, it's kind of just what you expect. It's just kind of, like for me, it's kind of cute when new Christians, are still cussing and stuff. No, some of you don't think that's cute, but I can just kind of laugh. I'm like, or they get really mad in traffic, and I'm like, yeah, they're new Christians. They have the Holy Spirit, yes, but everything is so new. They have this new power, but they don't know what to do with it. They're so used to their old way of life. And Paul is saying that's okay. So there are 2 truths in this text. There's a soft truth and there's a hard truth. The hard truth is hard. We'll get there. But if you're a new Christian, you need to know the soft truth. It's okay that you're not okay. You just cannot. You would be foolish. Just as it's foolish for a parent to expect their 9-month-old to eat a ribeye, it's foolish for you if you're a new Christian to expect yourself to know all the doctrines and to be a perfect, holy person. It's just unrealistic to expect that. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes someone becomes a Christian, and it's just like overnight, everything's different. But that is a special case, special person, special grace, according to God's very special plan. That is just not the norm. It's okay if you're not okay. You hear me? It's okay if you're a new Christian that you're not perfect. It's what you would expect of a new believer. And you need to know, just because you're not doing what you think you ought to do, you don't need to give up on yourself. You don't need to say, well, I guess I'll just never mature. That would be foolish, and you would miss out on what the Holy Spirit is trying to do in your life. You take baby steps, keep pressing on. And if you're a mature Christian here this morning in Broadview Baptist Church, our church, I would hope, could become a place that is a safe place for every Christian at every stage of their development. That we don't, as mature Christians, put on new Christians some kind of unrealistic, legalistic standard or expectation that they have it all figured out. It's just not wise. It's not even biblical.